We are trying to get you better at the quality of life that you have so that you can do.
If you're not strong enough to go backwards or walk up the stairs or be able to sit down, there's no reason to get into anything else. These movements will increase your quality of life being able to do it. So,
all right, guys, welcome back to the Strong Bull Podcast. Dom Dixon here with Coach Rob Dela Cruz.
hey guys,
We're going to be talking about our bread and butter here today with these 6 fundamental movements and what Rob considers the quality of life circle. So Rob, talk on the 6 fundamental movements and what that circle encompasses.
Yeah, so we riffed on it a little bit before. I call it the quality of life circle. And so these movements will increase your quality of life being able to do it. So the first one is the pillar, and most strength coaches agree on this. Like sometimes some people can debate a little bit about rotational and jumping and some other things. But I believe that's all like after these are performed properly. One is the squat. You need to be able to sit down and stand up on your own.
Yes.
On your own. That's like important and to be strong in that. 2 is the hinge. You need to be able to bend over, pick something up properly, and come up like a proper hinge, not squat the hinge.
Yeah.
The next one is a push horizontal and vertical, a pull horizontal and vertical, and then a carry. Now, and then the last one, the last 6 of the 6 is the lunge.
Yeah.
Okay. The lunge and the squat are related because the lunge is kind of like a single leg squat, but not really. You need it to walk upstairs and get off the ground and everything else. And then the carry is related to the hinge because you do have to hinge over to be able to pick something up and carry it. But carrying is a kind of a different skill set on top of it.
Yeah.
But those fundamental movement patterns, we're not married to any exercises.
No.
I mean, I like the back squat. I love the seal, type of deal, but I'm not married to those exercises. I'm married to the movement pattern.
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot use the back squat and get someone really strong at the squat pattern and never use it.
Yeah.
Now, I do like the back squat.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of saying that. But those 6 fundamental movement patterns, if you get people good at that, not only will increase their quality of life, transfers over to a lot of stuff they do, then you can start adding a lot of complexity of other stuff.
Yeah. I think, like you said, you build that wide enough base, and we talk about all the time that strength is the base.
Correct.
From there, it kind of goes and teeters up into more specialties or different variations. But I think if you have a strong base, you have the ability to do so much more. I think a lot of people now get in the gym, they're like, I'm working out to be better at the gym. No. We are working and training you to be better. If you don't have a sport specific, we are trying to get you better at the quality of life that you have so that you can do the things, pick your kids up. You can squat down and grab something. You can single leg reach in or single leg bend over to grab something, a golf course or grab something out of the cabinets. All those things are encompassed into the quality of life circle. And I think people forget that the gym is the gym to be better at life.
Yeah, when
general population.
When I do because I work with all different ages. I work with everything from like athletes, we've worked for younger people all the way up to older. And the athletes, like then you get into like a whole different category of stuff. So you start moving around. But I'm looking for general population, and they could be your what is it called, athlete, your everyday athlete.
Yeah.
But when we come in, we look, can they sit down on something that's within a depth and stand up with no problem?
Yeah.
Then I go ahead and can they bend over and hinge properly with no problem? Can you reverse lunge or forward lunge with no problem? Usually I'm running into one of those movements they cannot do properly.
Yeah.
They might not be able to put over their hand. So if you go ahead and you work on that movement and you get it better, then their ability and their quality of life can get better just as being able to reach over easier.
Absolutely.
So we spend the majority of our time on some of the templates that focus on that, on those movements.
Yeah.
The better they can move at those movements, the easier they are to teach other more complex movements.
Yes. That's stuff that people see whenever they see some of our Instagram stuff. They're like, oh, that's a cool variation. Well, they didn't see you do a back squat for the last 2 decades.
Yes.
And master that for yourself. Or the lunge you've been doing since you could work out. And I think a lot of people are so married to what they see the variation of that they're like, well, if it's not that, then I don't want to do it, or all those different things. And I think people forget that that's where it starts, and that's where it always reverts back to. Is the 6 fundamental movements that we believe in as the quality of life. Now, with that being said, if I'm somebody and I'm training and I'm listening to this, watching this for the first time, and I'm trying to get in that realm where I'm kind of giving people more of a basis of where I should program from, what's a good general way of programming that, and how often should general population be using these 6 fundamental movements?
Oh, seeing them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I like to write a template up that's like mostly focused on those movements, and then there's other accessories underneath. I'd like to see the movement patterns being touched twice a week.
Okay.
Any more than that, then you got to be really careful. And like with time in between and
Yeah,
space,
there we go.
like
Yeah.
conditioning, proper conditioning
Yeah.
work that is not overusing the
same
movement
movements,
patterns.
yes,
That's where you got to be careful because you run into that.
Yep.
That's where you run into issues trying to program CrossFit itself. Is it ends up overlapping a bunch of movement patterns.
Yep.
And so does a lot of other
With
programs.
your strength work. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The strength work is the base.
Yes.
That's the base. That's the foundation. Everything builds from that. Metabolic conditioning, rotational work, jumping, everything. If you're not strong enough to go backwards or walk up a stairs or be able to sit down, you're not. Then there's no reason to get into anything else. And if you're not very proficient in those moves, but I like to see it twice a week. And a lot of times when I see it twice a week, it's separated by quite a bit of time, as far as like days. And it's not the same exercise.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, I know there are templates, and I have wrote them that were like back squat on Monday and back squat on Fridays, and like you're kind of working progressive.
Yeah.
But I've seen way more results from back squat on Monday and then a different type of squat.
Yeah.
And it could be like what they're using conjugate,
Yeah.
speed,
Yeah.
like some kind of
It's
dynamic.
still a back squat, but it's a different variation of that back squat.
Correct.
Absolutely. Box squats,
Yeah.
wide stance squats, stuff like
I've
that.
seen so much better results with that.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think that trainers forget that, oh, I'm hitting legs twice a week. Well, and then they try to separate it with hamstrings and quad, which is fine, but then they're still doing the same movement. They're just trying to say, I'm focusing on this.
Yep.
It's very hard to spot target anyway.
Yeah.
But to add variations of those movements is in your accessory work. Like your
Yes.
primaries are what we're talking about with the 6 fundamental movements. And then from there, you have your variations of those movements, right?
I mean, you'd be so surprised if, like, basically a full body workout. Some version of a squat, some heavy version of a horizontal pull, which I like chest supported,
Love. Yeah.
just because to save the lower back a lot of times.
Focus on what
And
you're
then
doing.
some version of a press.
Yep. You're good.
That takes up the whole
workout.
5 sets of 5, it just takes up everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bread and butter.
But that's where I like to spend the majority of my time on that.
Yeah.
Unless it's just some kind of specialty program.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
So there it is, guys. Those are our 6 fundamental movements that we believe in as the quality of life to make you better at life, whether that's early age, young age, whatever the case is, here at Strong Bull.